Let us pray. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come to celebrate these children that we got to hear earlier this evening. Lord, we thank you for each one that was here this evening and those that couldn't be here for whatever the reason. Be with them. Lord, we ask that you bless our school system, our administrators, our teachers, all of our workers in our school system. And Lord, we ask that you guide this board and give us wisdom, and the decisions that we make tonight will be in the best interest of those kids that we are affecting by our decisions. Lord, now we ask that you help us be ever mindful of the season that is here upon us, and we ask that you bless all of us this holiday season. These things we ask in your holy name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Ms. Shipman, make sure that the kids at Bethel Elementary know that we really appreciate them coming out tonight and the parents making the effort to be here and bringing them tonight. Thank you. Board members, we have our next regular board meeting here at the Education Center on January the 11th at 7 o'clock. I'd also like to announce that Mr. Rogers is still recovering from some surgery that he's had, so keep Mr. Rogers, Jimmy Rogers, in your prayers. He continues to heal, and we need to continue to pray for him and his speedy recovery. Does anyone else have any other announcements?
I need to add an item from Finance.
Okay. We need to add an item from the Finance Committee. Let's see. Let's do it right after the calendar before we do the policies. We'll do the Finance Committee. And then we have an add-on to the Building and Grounds. We'll do it right after the Finance Committee, Building and Grounds. Then, board members, we need to, from our work session, we need to appoint a committee for our vocational education program from the board and kind of set some folks that need to be at the table on this discussion that we're having about vocational ed. Is there any objection to those agenda adjustments? There being none, we'll continue on. If I get there and forget it, remind me, please. Y'all are pretty good about doing that. Now the board recognizes Mr. Mark Shepard.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. First of all, we want to do our fall sports recognitions. I just wanted to let everybody know that Tuscola does have some things to do, but they're having their banquet tonight, so they had already scheduled that, so we'll get them in January. Okay. And judging by the crowd in the hallway, that'll work out just fine. So first of all, we're going to have Matthew Golden come around and tell you about the Bethel Middle School football program.
Good evening, board. At first, I would like to recognize all our players that are here this evening. If they would, please stand. A lot of our other players. Couldn't be here this evening because they're doing other sports. Wrestling and basketball is just starting up, so hey, they couldn't be here, but we still want to recognize them. We also have all our coaching staff is here as well. Coach Donnie Buchanan, Coach Scott Early, and Coach Collins. So appreciate you guys having us. Just to give you kind of a heads up over the past 3 years, the state of Bethel Middle School football has definitely changed over the course of the past 3 years. Coming into this season, Bethel had won 1 out of its last 16 ball games. In spite of this record, our roster continued to grow in number each of these years. I believe these 2 years helped develop the young men standing in front of you tonight. They don't quit, they are humble, and they don't make excuses. This year was a testament to that. Our team went undefeated in our division, played for a conference championship, and went 6-2 overall. In my eyes, this team gave a perfect effort, and that's all God asks of us. Thank you for the recognition, and thank you, coaches and team, for what you stand for. Thank you, community. Thank you, Coach Chappell. Thank you, Pisgah High School. Thank you, Board.
Pretty good turnaround. Okay, next of all, we're going to have Jennifer Williamson come around and tell you about Canton Middle School cross country.
Hello. I'd like to recognize one of our athletes, Mayanna Norris. This is just a wonderful athlete as well as a wonderful person. This is Mayanna. Just great job this season. Mayanna went undefeated throughout all her races this season. Was a conference champion, Blue Ridge Conference champion in cross country, as well as set a school record. She is our leading cross country runner that we've ever had at Canton Middle School. I feel privileged as a coach because she's not only just a super athlete, but just a wonderful person, a very humble athlete. Going into each race, I think she worried more about her competitors than they worried about her. And yet, in each race, she averaged or she beat them by over 20 to 25 seconds. Like I said, I feel privileged. It's a fight to get her out here. She's a multi-sport athlete. Not only is she a great cross-country runner, but a great basketball player and a great soccer player. So Pisgah is going to be very lucky to have her next year. And I also get to coach track up there, so it will be a fight to get her out on the track team rather than have her play soccer. But just in recognition of what she's done, we'd like to present this award to her. And like I said, we're very excited for her next year and going to Pisgah.
Okay, next I have the privilege of introducing to you the WNC Athletic Conference Volleyball Coach of the Year, Megan Woods, and this is her third consecutive one, but only the first time we've had the honor of having her at the board meeting. So congratulations.
Good evening. I also want to talk about one of my players, Brooklyn Allen, who is you probably recognize from the papers. She unfortunately is leaving me this year, but I'm going to just tell you some of her stats. This year she finished the season with 66 aces, 382 kills, 51 blocks, 322 digs, 349 serve receptions, and 165 points. Overall, in her 4 years at Pisgah, she had a total of 1,322 kills and 1,332 digs. She was first in our conference in aces for the season. So as far as I know, there's not been anyone in Pisgah history to have those two accomplishments, kills and digs, ever, to go over 1,000. So we are very proud of her, but sad to see her go. So Brooklyn Allen.
Hard to believe all these people play so well and they're so shy in front of a crowd. Okay, so now we have Miss Serena Goodwin and Tiffany Ham to come around and tell us about Pisgah cross country season.
Hi, thank you for honoring us tonight. We appreciate you letting us come. We started this season really uncertain about what we had. We were very fortunate. I came into cross country not knowing a whole lot about it, so we research, we read, we talk to people, we elicit help from Danny Williamson, and we got very fortunate this year with our boys team. We have several young boys, and I do believe we have the opportunity to continue to go to state for the next few years if they could keep working like they do. Coach Ham and I look at each other sometimes after practice, and we're like, I would hate to have to do what they just did. It is a grueling sport, and I can promise you they earn every ounce of recognition that they get. First, for the boys team, he's a freshman, and he led our team all year. His name's Andrew Hamill. The boys team this year, we thought if we can just get to regionals, we'll be all right. We might can finish fourth, qualify for state. And we ended up finishing second at regionals, qualifying for state. And thanks to our boosters club, we had a really good time at state, and they learned a lot. It was more like an ice skating rink than a cross-country course because they packed it with a road packer, and then it started raining right as soon as they shot the gun. So it was horrible conditions, but the boys did really well, and I was very proud. I think they learned a lot, and we'll take it back with them. Next is Daniel Mashburn. Daniel's a junior. He's one of our only a couple upperclassmen. The others are young. Daniel has improved his times very much. Next is Carter Binkley, another freshman. Some of these boys, I'd never heard their names. Cross country is like a real quiet sport. And then all of a sudden, these guys are running like a 5-something mile, and we're like, all right, this is going to be good. All right, and as Jennifer said, Mayanna has the best time at Canton Middle School. Here is the girl that had the best time until Mayanna took over. This is Colby Williamson. Colby is our best girl. Colby has led our team. She's kind of just used to going to state. She's trying to make it a tradition in her high school career to get to compete at state. She and Andrew both were all conference runners this year, so we were really proud of them. And she was our only girl that got to represent Pisgah at the state meet, but we're hoping to tag along a few others next year. I'd like to thank Coach Ham, too. We do try to get creative, and it's very difficult to figure out when you have really good runners who are really talented. You have to work hard to figure out where to get more information. So we work well together, and I appreciate all the support we get from the community. Thank you.
All right, and last and certainly not least is Bentley Rogers coming around for Pisgah's JV football team.
I'd like to first introduce our 4 captains from our JV football team. Chase Henson. Brady Connor. Justin Davis. And A.J. Cope. These 4 gentlemen showed tremendous leadership with our team. They allowed us to persevere in some really tough games. They helped us prepare during practice. And this was the first time that our JV team had went undefeated since the 9th grade had been moved to Pisgah High School. And it was also the first time that we went 10-0. The previous teams had only went 6-0. This team always came to practice. They were willing to work. They were enjoyment to watch them play. The team demonstrated the characteristics of a championship team. And I'd like to say thank you to the board and the chairman and Dr. Garrett for your support in athletics here in Haywood County.
That is all of the fall sports recognitions. Thank you very much.
The board now recognizes Elisa Glantz.
Chairman Francis, Dr. Garrett, Dr. Nolte. It is my great pleasure to introduce John Best and Beth Rouse for leadership in the FFA and all that they do at Tuscola. But their one of their greatest accomplishments this year is their soil judging teams have win in state and coming in second. And I'm going to let them turn it over to them and let them tell you exactly what they did.
You didn't tell me I was going to have to talk. But thank y'all for having us down. And this is something that I've personally been chasing for 35 years. And it's eluded me. But this group of young people surprised me. So I'm very, very proud of them. And our senior team, we had 35 schools down competing, and they came in first. The junior team, I think there was 23 schools competing, and they came in second. So we're very, very proud of them, and they'll be able to go to Oklahoma in early May to compete in the national event. The senior team will. So we're very, very proud of them. I guess. Okay.
I'll just call their names. They're all here, so they're going to come in and you can see them. Nathaniel Carver, Josie Presnell, Addie Ruff, Hunter James, Daniel Ross, Justin Ross, Michaela James, and Destiny Little. So we were really proud of this bunch and excited to head to Oklahoma. Thank you.
I just have one question for them. If they're the soil team, now I'm in agriculture, and I've got a question for you. What's the difference between dirt and soil? Dirt is what you sweep up off the floor, and soil is a living organism where you grow things, correct? I had a college professor taught me that, and so this is the first time I had a chance to use it. Can't beat a good education.
Okay, I would like to introduce Miss Laura Meisner. She is from CFNC, which is the College Foundation of North Carolina, here to make a very special presentation for a Canton Middle School student.
Well, I actually have the distinct pleasure of giving away money tonight, which is really great. Yes. I am here to award Raven Robinson. Is Raven, where is Raven? Is Raven here? Well, I guess I won't be giving anybody any money. But anyway, this young lady is going to get $2,000. She's starting in 7th grade, $2,000 per year through her 4th year of college. This was a scholarship set up by Victor E. Bell probably about 5 years ago. And actually, we had our first group of graduating seniors this past year. 10 students across North Carolina get chosen for this. She was nominated by her school counselor, and it's somebody with college potential, and she was the one that was chosen, and she's from this area, and I'm just very proud that yes, absolutely, at some point that will be great. Thank you.
I spoke with the folks at Canton Middle School today, and they were trying their best to coax her here. They said she was very shy about being in front of a crowd, but she will be glad to accept the money.
Need to put a hook on it.
Chairman Francis, members of the board, Dr. Garrett, and Dr. Nolte, it is my pleasure to present to you the 2015 Christmas Card Contest winner, Samantha Torres. Samantha is in 6th grade at Waynesville Middle, where she is in Miss O'Loughlin's art class. Samantha loves all the arts and has danced for 8 years. She loves music and has recently started playing percussion. She loves art the most and explains that her mom has inspired her to always be creative. Samantha says life without art would be boring, and I agree. On behalf of the Haywood County School System, I would like to present you with a check for $100, 25 printed cards for you to send to whoever you want, and then the framed artwork over here. Congratulations.
Now on our agenda, the board recognizes Mr. Ron Moss.
Chairman Francis, board, Dr. Garrett, Dr. Nolte, I'm here tonight to talk about our tremendous pre-K program. We have a great program here in Haywood County. I believe it's had a tremendous impact on our school system, and I know it has on the children and the families who have participated in the program. And this year we did expand our program from four sites to 6, and things are going really well. I do want to say that based on assessments, and I created a little chart here so you could see that were done beginning of year last year to end of year. It's evident that students showed substantial growth in math, literacy, and writing. If you look at the chart, for example, in letter naming, and I'm going to say they were able to name 32 letters, but we're talking about lowercase and uppercase. The children showed a growth of 17.6%. Basically, at the beginning of the year, children could identify an average of 3 letters. By the end of the year, they were able, on average, to identify 32 letters. So that was huge growth. On the subtest in vocabulary development and math, there was growth of 21.3% and 20.1%. And I want to say, I feel like this growth is a testament to the teachers and the TAs in those classrooms and the principals who support those programs in their schools. They work tirelessly to help students reach their fullest potential. The ladies are, they learn. They're always willing to learn, and they never give up on kids. They strive to meet the individual needs of the students in their classroom. And I want to give 2 examples. We have one student in a pre-K program this year whose readiness level was high enough that they were ready to read when they started pre-K. And the teacher in that classroom has worked with that little girl to the point that now she is reading at a level C. Now, to kind of put that in perspective, a child is on grade level in kindergarten at the end of the year if they are reading a level D. So we have this little girl reading a level C. We also have another student, as an example, in one of the other programs who basically came to school without any kind of readiness skills, who has really, in the short time he's been in school, he's right at a level A book. Those are simple books to read, but it's obvious, he's growing. One of the things I would like to say about our pre-K program is that all of our teachers hold birth to kindergarten degrees. We have several with master's degrees, And all total, they have 69 years of combined service, working with preschool kids. And they do, an excellent job. I can't say that enough. But one of the things I do want to point out, unlike other preschools, all of our teachers do have to meet the licensure requirements at the state and the certification requirements at the state to be, classroom teachers. Last year, Jill, Dr. Nolte, and I went to Polk County to visit, and Polk County to find out a lot about how they do their pre-K, because they basically provide universal pre-K to all of their students. To find out how they did that. And basically in talking to them, one of the things that they said was they considered pre-K to be another year of school. And so that's really a goal that we've set, was to make that program another year of school, so that kids really do get a head start. As I said earlier, we did expand from 4 to 6 sites last year. And in each of those 6 sites, we did hold 4 slots for parents who were willing to do private pay. And we had some people that opted to do that this year, but we're hoping next year that we will have a larger group of people that will take part in that particular offer. I will say, in our pre-K program, we do our curriculum focus. It's not, like a second or a third grade classroom, but we do believe in kind of an academic focus. Kids do play. That's developmentally appropriate. But the instruction that goes on in the classroom supports the play, and the play supports the instruction. Kids are in centers learning, but they're also getting, some direct instruction in literacy and math and, so forth. As an example, we have purchased several years back a developmentally appropriate pre-K math curriculum that we implemented. It was a curriculum that was designed by a professor at Denver University named Doug Clements and his wife Julie Sarama. And we've actually had Dr. Clements here twice training our teachers. And so I think, truthfully, that's one of the reasons you see, the growth that you see, in math. One of the things, I'll say all of our curriculum builds upon the experiences of children, and our goal is to establish a solid foundation for future learning. We're going to watch a video that was taken of a little boy in Mary Green's room reading, and I'll put in that quote in quotation marks, because even though the little boy's not reading, he's reading. Okay, he came to school not familiar with books, this, that, and the other thing. And basically, in this particular video, he is demonstrating 2 skills. One is a reading skill, and one is a math skill. Okay, very early on, what we all do when we learn to read is we learn to understand how books work. You hold them upright so that you read the words. You turn the page from right to left. You follow the text, and so forth. So basically, although he's reading the book, he's not really reading the book. He's familiar with the book, but you can see he understands how books work. The other thing he's demonstrating in this video is a very basic math skill that's important for kids to develop, to understand number sense. He will be actually counting each of the animals on the page before he actually reads the text. And, for him to have come in August with no experience with books and to be able to do what he's doing now is a testament to the kind of quality instruction that's going on in our pre-K classrooms. So it's Myra Watson. Myra is our pre-K instructional coach. I'm sorry, Myra. And Myra worked as a kindergarten teacher here in Haywood County for many years, and she now works in the Birth to Pre-K program at Western Carolina, and she's done some amazing things with our teachers, especially in regards to literacy, and I wanted her to explain, to you all what's going on in that curriculum area in our classroom.
Okay. Thanks for having us here to talk about pre-K. Like Ron said, I teach in the birth through kindergarten program at Western, and that's my full-time job, and this is my part-time job. So what I do with Western is I supervise a lot of interns and teach classes, so I'm in a lot of pre-K classrooms, and I feel really strongly that these classrooms in Haywood County are among the best that I go in. Oh, I think the video. Do you want to watch it while it's working? I don't want to jinx anything. No, keep going. Okay. These classrooms are really, really great. And what we have wanted to do over the past couple of years is expand the program. We want to learn more about how young children learn and what we can do to help them learn. And so the teachers that I work with at 6 different schools are so brave, and they're always willing to take suggestions. And so I had this idea about a modified reading workshop. I don't know how many of you are familiar with reading workshop or the workshop model, but it's where you have a mini lesson, you have children who go out and they work on something intentionally, the teacher conferences with them, and then they come back together to share about what they've learned. We don't want to do an academic shove down of reading workshop that goes into pre-K, so what we decided to call it is literacy workshop, because what we want children to understand is that they're learning about literacy. This video was actually taken during literacy workshop, during the conferencing time. And what teachers do during this time is they plan a mini lesson. Several of the teachers are doing author studies. So if you think back to maybe your preschool or kindergarten experience, you probably weren't doing author studies. You know, that's a big thing. They have a collection of Mo Willems books, and they read the books, and kids are saying things like, oh, I really liked Knuffle Bunny better than the Penguin books because the illustrations are a little more detailed. Those are things that are being said in pre-K classrooms, and that's because teachers are teaching them. When they go out, they go on their mats, and they have a book box. Every kid has their own box. It has regular books, books from the author study or whatever they're studying. They also have things like color cards, the names of their friends, numbers, all kinds of things that are related to literacy, so that every child, regardless of whether they're a kid who's ready to read, whether they're on the cusp of being a reader, or whether they're a kid who's had very few experiences and isn't there yet, they're working on their level, and the teachers go around to discuss with them what they're seeing and what they're doing in the classroom. Is that ready? There was something I wanted to mention about the video, too. Is it ready?
Do you want to do it before or after?
It doesn't matter. One of the things that I wanted to just say after we watch this video is that it's really powerful what Ron mentioned about the way the book is being turned and the math concepts. But one thing that stands out to me in this book is, when I look at it as a teacher, is that the child is looking at the words and going to the picture and coming back to the words and going to the picture. So this kid understands and is using a really intentional strategy that we teach all the way up through the early primary grades. Use your illustrations to help you. And his teacher has helped him learn that. And so when we have kids who have been in these pre-K programs, who have had this kind of quality experience, they may not be readers when they go to kindergarten, and we don't expect that for everybody, but they're kids who are ready to become readers when it's developmentally appropriate. So thank you for supporting pre-K, and we look forward to having more kids in our program. Thanks. Oh, and I'm supposed to read a statement from a kindergarten teacher also. Lisa Cleveland, who was one of the Teacher of the Year nominees, she works at Jonathan Valley Elementary. They've had a pre-K there for several years, and so we asked her just to do a little testimonial. And she said, I always say that getting a former pre-K student in my kindergarten classroom is like getting a gift. Pre-K alumni walk in their first day of kindergarten so confident. It's as if they feel like they own the school. Their pre-literacy skills are always on the mark. I love it when I'm starting to read a book to the class or talking about an author or an illustrator, and I hear those little voices say, we had that book in pre-K, or our teacher read us that book in pre-K. Haywood County pre-K helps children socially and academically. Parent involvement is greater for children that have been in pre-K classrooms when they come to kindergarten. School routines come so easily to these children as they transition into kindergarten. Pre-K definitely makes a difference in children who are given the opportunity to experience it, a difference that shows up long after they leave the pre-K classroom. So she's a good teacher that we can trust, and there are lots of other ones out there that I think we're going to try to bring in to just give little testimonials of the power of pre-K. So thank you, guys.
4 ostriches, 9 cantaloupes, 5 cantaloupes, 6 tigers, 7 crocodiles, 8 monkeys, 9 snakes, 9 parrots,
You want to look again? Look at that one again.
Ten. Now, 2 elephants, 3 grass, 4 ostriches, 6 lions, 7 crocodiles, 9 monkeys, 9
Well, is that on that page? Do you see where it says 1 hunter on that page? Okay, well, where does it say 100?
on the berry.
On the very back. Well, turn the page and let's see if it's on the very back.
No, the berry one touch.
Well, no, does it go this way? See if this page says it.
I can't
Let's get it right.
Nine parrots. And 100.
Another cool thing about this is, this was not like a staged video that we did for this meeting. This was actually just a video that I got on my cell phone one day from the pre-K teacher. She said, look at what he did. You know, so those are the kind of teachers that we have, that I get these little videos and little updates and just, you know, things because they're excited about teaching and they're excited about seeing kids learn. So it was just totally not staged at all. It was just a teacher excited about a kid. And so we like to see that kind of stuff. They're pretty phenomenal teachers.
They are. This is Becky Pope. Becky Pope. She's the Title I lead teacher at Hazelwood Elementary School. And I hope I don't steal your thunder, but a year ago in September, I went over to Hazelwood and I asked Becky, I said, how many of our pre-K students ended up in Title I this year? She says, oh no, not any. They're our superstars. So I had asked her to come tonight and, you know, share with you all her experiences with pre-K students going into kindergarten and in Title I. Did I steal you?
No.
Okay, good.
Thank you for listening to us tonight about pre-K. We have a phenomenal pre-K and a phenomenal pre-K teacher at Hazelwood. And so my perspective is a little bit different from Myra's because the students that I see are already identified as having some kind of learning gap. Okay, so the research is clear about the importance of pre-K and how it can help our youngest learners fill in those early literacy and math foundational skills that they may or may not have some gaps in. But what we've done the last couple of years at Hazelwood is we've looked very closely at the assessment data that we have on our pre-K students. And what we know is that our former pre-K students who become kindergarten students are now students who have fewer gaps, who have more skills, and they come to us and they're ready to learn in kindergarten. And it's like Myra and Ron both said, we're not trying to push down a curriculum into pre-K that these students are not ready for. But what we do know is that the teachers that we have are very good at identifying when students are ready to move on to a skill or an activity, and they're very good about working with our students. So thank you for hearing us tonight.
Thank you.
Do you all have any questions for me, Myra, or Becky in regard to pre-K? I think it's obvious we have a really good program in our district.
You don't know how hard it's been for me to sit here and not talk about it, because I've got my grandson in the pre-K up at Central, and amen. Amen. He came home one day, and we've been reading books to him, but he quickly pointed out that it was the cover, the spine, and the back, and then he says title, and he made me read the title, and he asked me who the author was. So they're learning. Great. And the environment they're in, I don't think you can get it if you were trying to teach them at home. I've always thought you could teach them a lot at home, but it's an environment they're in where they want to learn with other kids. It's amazing to me. So,
and like Becky said, teachers who are not holding kids back, they know when to move a kid based on where that child happens to be. And I think it's really, we've got a good group of teachers and TAs. So I invite you to go out and visit, any of the classrooms if you get a chance, because you see that every day.
We just come by the house and see Casey.
Okay.
He can count to 100 and all kinds of stuff. Yes, sir. Thank you. We have had some folks sign up to address the board in their open session, and before we do that, I'm going to read the statement. Now is the time period designated by the Board of Education for public comments. This time is set aside for comments from the general public in regard to matters of concern to the public. However, comments addressing specific students and or personnel are prohibited due to confidentiality laws and regulations. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. The board requests that all speakers adhere to the time limitation and prohibition against mentioning individual students and personnel. And Pat Smiles would be real proud of me, since he's not here tonight, that we got our legal part out of the way. We've had Mr. Ted Carr asked to address the board for need for vocational education.
It's certainly a pleasure, Dr. Garrett, to see the good results in the Mountaineer. Top 10 out of 115 districts. Thank you very much, Board, for giving me a few minutes to talk to you. Let me say that I am a staunch supporter of education. My grandmother and her 3 spinster sisters were career teachers. Mom taught 4th grade for 20 years. My sister was a teacher. I'm a teacher, Dr. Nolte. I received federal instructor certification in 1975, but I'm a product of the vocational system. Mom and Dad didn't have the money to send me to college. I graduated BSEE, Auburn, Alabama, on the cooperative program, the co-op program. 3 months in class, 3 months working in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, 3 months back at school, 3 months of working for 5.5 years total, an AB student. And that led to a 32-year career with Honeywell in the aerospace business, and ended up as manager of aerospace products in Honeywell's Durham operation. But, Mr. Henson, you know what that vocational education taught me that you don't get in a typical classroom situation? Application, responsibility, and work ethics. I could see directly how what I was learning applied to work. Often at work, I would see that I needed to get back to school, back to Auburn, to learn what I was trying to do at work. I learned it every day. I needed to get myself up and out of the dorm room and on my bike to class or in a shuttle bus to work. I was responsible for myself every day. Mom and Dad weren't there to get me to work on time or to handle my finances. That responsibility, application, work ethics, and responsibility is why I am a strong supporter of the education system. That's why, Mr. Rogers, when I hear of school vocational funds, career and technology education funds being diverted to K-6 elementary education, I am very concerned. No high school vocational students transferred to the K-6 program. The high school students in the vocational program did not lose their opportunity to work in industry. And industry's high demand for vocational students did not decrease. I can see no reasonable rationale to divert CTE funds to K-6. Please don't let that happen. Western North Carolina students need vocational training. Western North Carolina industries need workers coming out of vocational programs. A few weeks ago, I drove Mr. Godfrey and his class through Haywood and Buncombe counties. He pointed out business after business after business with job openings. Mr. Francis, you don't need to send and prepare every student for college. Please don't shortchange those students who can benefit by vocational training. And please do not shortchange the high school vocational program by diverting CTE funds to K-6. Thank you very much for your time, folks.
Thank you, Mr. Carr, for your comments. We also have Mr. Josh Milner, who wanted to address the board about the vocational program.
Hello, board. How are you doing?
Hello.
Give you a little bit real quick of my background. Graduated from Pisgah in 2001, and while I was there, I came through the vocational program there. Worked in the welding shop for Mr. Warren my sophomore year, and worked for Coach Singleton in the machine shop sophomore through my senior year, where we did work for Evergreen Farms and companies like C&H Tooling, Champion, things of that nature. From there, I went on to AB Tech, got a mechanical engineering degree and a construction management degree. And from there, I went on and got my contractor's license and went into business for myself at age 24. Still in business for myself. We do houses and mostly do commercial work now. And the past 3 years, I have acquired a few industrial parts that I lease space out to businesses for. I have machine shops that rent from me, roofing companies, all types of businesses, really. One of the things that continues to come up is their need for skilled workers. I was at the machine shop earlier this week, or actually the end of last week, I guess. And the owner of the machine shop asked me if I knew anybody that could read blueprints and run a CNC lathe. He was needing a turning operator. He had been through 2 workers in the last 6 months, and they were both out of college, and neither one knew how to read blueprints or program a machine. Those were things that I could do at Pisgah by my junior year on my own. Coach Singleton taught us very well there. So I run into these things often, and it's, I think, a testament really to Haywood County Schools, what they have turned out over the years out of the vocational program. I think if we were to bring just the few people that were out of my grade, my co-worker down there at the time, he has been successfully worked for Clark and Leatherwood, or out of school, opened up his own construction company. He is now over all the building at Haywood Community College and still doing building stuff. He's currently doing the addition down at the Champion Credit Union for them. He and I both came through at the same time and are still really good friends. I think one thing that can be overlooked sometimes is the vocational programs aren't as flashy maybe as athletic programs or the upper academic programs, but I think in real world applications, whenever the rubber meets the road essentially out in the workforce, they are one of the more important programs that that the school system has. I'm a product of it, and it helped me a lot whenever I went to college. There was a lot of things I already knew that they were teaching me that I'd already learned, and I think it's contributed a lot to my success and to a lot of people's actually that have come through it. So just wanted to come down and give you all my point of view, and I commend y'all on what y'all do. I know it's very tough, and I wouldn't want to be in your shoes trying to put all this budget stuff together. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Okay. Board members, you've had an opportunity to take a look at the November closed and open session minutes. This time I'll entertain a motion that be approved as presented.
So move.
Mr. Kirkpatrick's made the motion. I hear a second. So Mr. Francis. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next on our agenda, we have Ms. Jeannie Wood with our proposed 2006-2017 calendar.
For your approval, you have the 2016-17 school calendar.
Okay. Everybody had a chance to take a look at the calendar? And
Yes, I make a motion that we approve the calendar as is.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr.
2016, 2017.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Kirkpatrick to approve the 2016-2017 school calendar as presented. Do I hear a second? Second, Ms. Milner. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor?
I just have one question. April the 10th through the 14th, it has been the last couple, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, I think, except for one. It's usually a third week in April. Why did we move it to the?
Not lately. It's typically the week before or after Easter.
No, it typically is the third week in April. But the reason that they chose to move it, I think the year before it was moved earlier, but the reason that the calendar committee decided to do it this way, and we're doing it this school year that we're in, is to be in alignment with the community college spring break so that we don't have to run buses and things like that for the early college.
Because I knew, the last 10 or 12 years, it seems like it's only been once or twice. It's usually been a third week, but that if you're bringing it into alignment with the community college.
Any other question or comment on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Wood, and everyone on the calendar committee. Tell them we appreciate your hard work. And I know it's not easy building the calendar when you get all the things that has to be done. There's not a whole lot of room to wiggle on the calendar, to be honest with you. We had some agenda adjustments. I was going to ask the Finance Committee if we could hold yours to the actual Finance Committee part. I didn't think about that at the time. That'd be fine. We'll add an item under Finance. Next, we'll have Building and Grounds had an issue that they needed to.
Mr. Chairman, up at Wayville Middle, baseball team has requested to do some work at the Wayville Middle School baseball field, which is up behind the old Hazelwood School.
Right.
What they want to do, they want to move the fence into regulation baseball for middle school. And they've got 2 or 3 guys, Mackie McKay and some guys that's actually done this before. And it's going to be at no cost to the school system. And when I call them back, if we approve it, only thing I want them to do is to coordinate it with Joe, our maintenance guy, so he'll know what's going on.
Okay.
And that comes in the form of a motion from a Building and Grounds that we let them do this.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Leatherwood to allow some folks to move the fence with Mr. Joe working with them on the project in coordination with them. Do I hear a second to the motion?
Second.
Second, Mr. Henson. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Anything else from Building and Grounds?
Thank you.
Thank you for your work on the Building and Grounds and all that serve on the Building and Grounds Committee for their fine work. Board members, we've heard some folks not talking about vocational education. It seems to be a topic that we even talked about in our work session, and I had several board members request that we come up with a committee, and I'm going to suggest some things, and we can take action and discuss it, but I would like to suggest, or maybe someone make a motion, that we appoint Mr. Bobby Rogers had interest in it, Mr. Leatherwood and Miss Rhonda Shandable had interest in serving on this committee. I think it needs to include Dr. Ann as an ex officio member of that committee, and of course Alicia Glantz. And the other folks need to be included. I think should be someone from the community college, Barbara Sue, or her representative. I'm just throwing out ideas right now, but I think we need to discuss this. It's a topic that is near and dear to our hearts. I've heard board members say that they're very interested in maintaining the vocational program. And so I think one way we could do it is get all interested players together in a committee and form a committee that would have this board represented, as well as the community college and other possible community leaders. And let the committee decide a lot more about what's going to go on and just report back to this board on a regular basis, if that would be something the board would be interested in entertaining at this time. What are your thoughts on this?
And then motion to make a committee to.
Yeah, I don't have the authority to appoint a committee
Without
outside what's in our policy, our normal policy.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and have a committee that is made up of the 3 board members, Mr. Leatherwood, Miss Rhonda, and Bobby Rogers, being on the, we'll call it the CTE committee.
That's fine.
And then let that committee be made up of the Dr. Ann and the other people that is necessary that needs to be on the committee to talk about this.
And your stakeholders, I'd suggest we have Alicia Glantz, Dr. Garrett, community college. Who else, Dr. Garrett?
Also, would you like for Alicia to organize that for us?
That'd be great.
Be the chair.
Everybody okay?
Good. As a form of a motion.
Okay.
Make that committee.
We have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second to the motion. Any questions or discussion on the motion on the floor?
Can we include some teachers?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think they need to be involved because they know where we're at, where they want to go with that program. Definitely need to include maybe from Pisgah and Tuscaloosa.
Absolutely.
And maybe even some from the community colleges.
Faculty. Okay.
Faculty or whatever we need there.
Any other questions or discussion? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I think that's a good step, board. Thank you for the support on that decision to form that committee. I appreciate it. Now I guess we're getting down to the good old policy man, Mr. Mark Shepard. We've put a lot of policies through this establishment in the last year.
It's been a marathon. Again, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, I wanted to first say that on our policy committee meeting on Tuesday, Mr. Rogers made his way to the meeting.
Mr. Jimmy Rogers.
Jimmy Rogers, yes. So we're tickled to see him back out, maybe at his first official function, and took meaningful part in the meeting, and was very glad to see him back. And of course, you can tell he's not feeling that great, but it was very nice to see him back in the meeting. Also wanted to say, Mr. Buchanan, our new maintenance director, has worked with me a couple times on policy so far. That's a good hire, and he's very knowledgeable about what he's doing, so he's going to be a good one to have on board. The first group of policies you have there is for the first read. That's another fall update. That's a complete second list of fall updates from the School Board Association. so much legislative action this year, and so much of it happened very late. And if you notice by reading through just the synopsis even of these, a lot of them are reflected about the Andro decision, where Judge Manning said that the basic thing that we offer our kids is a sound basic public education, and basically that is inflected into many of our policies. So that reflects a lot of the changes, and basically they're saying that we're supposed to be spending money appropriately and making our decisions in a way that grants that to our kids. So we're just we're putting these forth for first read.
Okay. The policies are listed will be tabled for until the next regular board meeting, and they'll be available online for public input. I would ask board members to be sure and take a good close look at anything that would affect the way this board operates. I see there's several on there for that. If you have any questions, feel free to call myself or Mr. Shepherd. If you have questions about those, that you make sure we get those clarified before we go and pass those next month if we decide to do so. Under the second reading, we have several.
Second reading, we have it's actually the second half of the 6,000 series. Yeah, we've not had the first one sent to us yet, but we are ready to ask for approval for the second half of the 6,000 series.
Would anyone want to make a motion to approve the policies listed?
I move we approve them.
Okay, we have a motion from Ms. Milne. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Ms. Shandable, that we approve the second reading policies as listed. Any questions or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Shepherd, and the fine work that Policy Committee is doing. And
thank you.
Y'all been on Afterburner now for about 1.5 years, so y'all are doing a great job. When's that fuel tank going to run out? Next on our agenda, we have our Finance Chairman, Mr. Jim Francis, and he has our finance reports tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Finance Committee has met and reviewed the regular monthly financial reports. Everything seems to be in order. So at this time, I would like to bring before the board a motion to approve the regular financial monthly reports.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Francis. Do I hear a second? Second from Mr. Henson. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
I have one other item. The Finance Committee also approved a contract for GPS and timekeeping contract through Synovia Solutions. And as long as it's approved by Mr. Smathers, looking at the contract, we'd like to bring that before the board as well.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor to approve a contract from Synovia.
Synovia, yes.
For some, it's data, GPS data tracking on our bus system, Ms. Trentham. Do I hear a second on the motion?
Second.
Second, Ms. Milner. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor?
Mr. Trentham can answer anything if we have a question.
Does anybody have any questions? I think it's going to be something that will be good and save us some money long term. Any other question or discussion? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Anything else?
That's all.
Thank you for the fine work the Finance Committee does and the hard work that y'all put in, and we appreciate it. Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have our personnel presented by Dr. Ann Garrett.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, for your information, you have 8 separation from employments, 2 employee status changes, and 4 leave of absences. For your approval, you have 8 employments. You have 28 employee status changes, and I'm going to stop there.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve those as presented so far?
I'll make the motion.
All right, Mr. Francis made the motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Ms. Shandable. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, for your approval, you have number 14 under employee status change.
Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a motion that we approve number 14.
Motion.
Who made, Mr. Rogers? Mr. Bobby Rogers, and I think Ms. Shannable has requested to abstain from voting on this issue because of it's a family member. Okay. Did we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second, Mr. Francis. I got ahead of myself. Okay, we have a motion and a second, and we have one abstention from Ms. Shannable. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries with one abstention.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, for your approval, you have 9 contracted services, 15 substitutes, 2 employee coaches, 1 non-employee coach, and 13 volunteer services.
Do I hear a motion those be approved as presented?
Move it. Approve.
Okay, Ms. Mills made the motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Ms. Shannable. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else come before the board at this time? If not, meeting adjourned.
Happy holidays.